We have heard from Dr. Bauhofer how Ayurveda fulfills the need of medical profession today, and we have heard from Dr. Morris how Maharshi brought to light the connection of Ayurveda with the source, which is the source of all of nature, the field of the self, in beautiful words from the Vedic language. And now we will hear from the modern science language the same point of how unified field of natural law is the basis of Ayurveda. It's a pleasure to introduce Dr. John Hagelin, who is a renowned quantum physicist, having created the leading grand unified field theory in physics today, unifying the electroweak and the strong and weak forces. And he's also the director of the Institute of Science, Technology, and Public Policy at Maharishi University of Management, and the president of the Global Union of Scientists for Peace. Dr. Hagelin.
Good morning. Western medical scientists, medical researchers, Western funding agencies, and governing bodies underappreciate, undervalue, underfund, and underutilize Ayurvedic medicine. And the basic reason for that is they don't understand Ayurvedic medicine, not understood easily in the prevailing Western medical paradigm. So in this very brief talk, I will provide a scientific framework, modern scientific framework, for Ayurvedic medicine. And the conclusion of that discussion will be that Ayurvedic medicine is in fact unified field-based medicine. Unified field is a concept championed by Einstein, who invented the term, and it is the discovery, which has since been achieved, of the fundamental unity of life, the unified source of the diversified universe. And the progress of modern science, especially modern physics over the past 50 years, has been to reveal deeper and deeper levels of nature's functioning, deeper levels of intelligence in nature. That started with about 300 years of exploration in what's called the classical world of macroscopic matter. But in the 20th century, the focus turned to the deeper atomic reality. And later in the 20th century, to the nuclear and subnuclear particles, very deep within the atom. And then ultimately, in the last 20 years, to what is called the unified field, the fulfillment of Einstein's lifelong quest, the discovery of a universal field of intelligence at the basis of the entire universe. The nature of this field is an ocean of pure existence, ocean of pure intelligence, an ocean of absolute silent immortality, but bubbling on the surface with limitless dynamism, effervescing an infinity of bubbles like ginger ale effervesces bubbles. But these bubbles are not ginger ale, in fact. They are infinitesimal loops called superstrings. And these superstrings can vibrate, as a miniature rubber band can vibrate in discrete frequencies, a spectrum of vibrational energies, a spectrum of masses. So these vibrating strings have different specific and computable masses. And the miracle of unified field theory, or superstring theory, is that these masses correspond to the known particles of nature. That all the forces that govern the universe and all the particles that fill the universe are just these vibrating strings, which are just the states of vibration of this universal unified field. And what comes out of the unified field in certain steps, several steps, is the universe. And the first sprouting of the unified field into this material creation is in terms of these 5 most fundamental elements called the superfields, gravity, gauge, and matter superfields. And from these superfields, what are called the 5 spin types. Now, these 5 spin types correspond to gravity, the gravitino, the spin 1 forces like electromagnetism, the spin 1/2 matter fields, the quarks and leptons, the electrons, the neutrinos, and the newly discovered Higgs bosons. And these 5 spins are not particles, actually, not even fields. They are quantum fields, which means they are the subtlest of essences, the 5 threads from which this entire universe is woven. And these 5 quantum spins actually are integrated into these even more holistic, more fundamental superfields. Now, these 3 and these 5 correlate exactly in Ayurvedic medicine to these 5 or Pancha Mahabhutas and the 3 doshas, the fundamental essences from which the whole physiology and ultimately the universe is created. The 5 and their combination into the 3 doshas. And this relationship between modern science and Vedic medicine, Vedic science, is precise. It is an exact correlation. For example, akasha is space. Not space as nothing, but space as a very rarefied, subtle substance. And in physics, what is gravity? Gravity is curved space-time geometry since Einstein. It's space as relativistic fluid, space as subtle substance. It's the same thing as akasha. Tejas, or Agni, is fire, heat, digestion. The spin 1 forces electromagnetism are light, heat, chemical transformation, or digestion. These 5 are functionally and structurally identical. A precise derivation of the equivalence of unified field of physics with the Veda and what emerges from the unified field in terms of 3 and 5, and what emerges from the eternal Veda in terms of the material world expressed in 3 doshas and the Pancha Mahabhutas, that correspondence can be made rigorous and precise in a conference longer than this. But we could go through this at great pain, and I mean that literally. But what you see in the unified field in its own internal structure is what we call a sequential internal metamorphosis, where 1 becomes 8, becomes 24, becomes 64, becomes 128. The mathematics is a bit perverse, but it works. And what you find is that this internal metamorphosis of the unified field leading to the emergence of the physical universe is paralleled in the Veda. The Veda is consciousness, awakening to its own internal nature, its own structure, and in the process of unfolding itself to itself in preparation for the emergence of thought, speech, and creation, undergoes the same sequential metamorphosis, where 1, first syllable of the Veda, becomes the first pada, first 8 syllables, becomes the first 24 syllables, the first richa, becomes the first sukta. The very same structure is found, and on that basis, and many other arguments that are equally powerful, we conclude that unified field and Veda are one. Same reality, different language. And from that conclusion, we can already conclude that Ayurvedic medicine is unified field-based medicine. And this is really important because in contrast to modern medicine, Ayurvedic medicine is enormously more profound and powerful. Modern medicine is chemical medicine. Modern medicine is mostly pharmacological medicine. Modern medicine is molecular medicine based on molecular chemistry and molecular biology. Ayurvedic medicine has all of that, but it extends much more deeply, as we saw, to the first sprouting of the human body from the ocean of consciousness. We saw, for example, that the Ayurveda involves the balancing of the fundamental essences within the body at the level of the 3 doshas, which are literally millions of millions of millions of times more fundamental than the molecules in our body. And Ayurvedic medicine is deeper than that. Ayurvedic medicine includes yoga, as we have seen. And yoga is all about transcending even that finest shade of diversity to the field of unity. So what is yoga? We've heard about it, but in this scientific perspective, we go again that the physical universe is structured in layers of creation, culminating in the field of absolute unity. Similarly, the mind in human consciousness is structured in layers of mind, layers of expanded human comprehension. Vaikari is the most concrete, articulated level of speech. Expanded level of mind is madhyama, abstract conceptual thought. Finer than that is pashyanti, abstract vibrating being, fine feeling level, and then the atma, the transcendent. And these levels of human comprehension have been corroborated very precisely by modern mathematics that show more expanded, more holistic, more comprehensive, more powerful levels of mind, culminating in the universe of sets, which is consciousness beyond comprehension. So in this modern language, what is yoga? In yogic meditation, authentic yogic transcending meditation, for example, from the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, systematic technique or techniques to turn the attention powerfully within to experience and explore these deeper levels of mind, culminating in the experience of pure consciousness, which is samadhi, turiya cetana, which is the direct experience of the Atma, which is the core Veda. And Yoga Sutras say, yoga is simply the complete settling of the activity of the mind. Then the seer, the knower, is established in the Atma, established in the self. And through ancient literature, this has been described as a fourth state of consciousness, the meditative state, the transcending state, samadhi state. And modern physiological sciences, starting with the work of Dr. Robert Keith Wallace and many who followed, shows that transcending samadhi is a fourth state of consciousness with profound effects on the body, a state of rest deeper than sleep, and a profound effect on the mind with highly coherent, integrated, and blissful brain functioning. And that itself is a powerful healing tool, as we have seen and we will see more throughout the conference. It is the most effective technique known to science for dissolving stress and preventing stress-related illness. It leads to marked reductions in all major categories of disease, including marked reductions in heart disease, which is the world's #1 killer. And that led the American Heart Association to endorse transcendental meditation. And this is why we can say that unified field-based medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, based on the doshas, is unified field-based medicine, but unified field-based medicine is ultimately Atma-based medicine. So here we have the final slide, that Ayurvedic medicine has treatments for every level of the human body, including its finest, most powerful essences. And beyond that, transcending physicality completely, the field of Atma, the field of absolute unity, the field of yoga, the field of being. And because Ayurveda treats the body at such a fundamental level, such a holistic level, level of the three doshas in the one universal field, the ocean of consciousness, it is naturally holistic and highly balanced and free of negative side effects, compared to modern medicine that treats the human body as a bag of 100,000 organic molecules. 100,000 different organic molecules, and it invents a medicine to increase one molecule or to suppress another, with inevitable side effects on thousands of others that are uncomputable and unknowable until you discover those negative side effects in the laboratory. So dealing with the body from the Ayurvedic perspective, the level of unity and the first sprouting of the emerging of the physiology from the ocean of unity is literally millions of times more powerful, but holistic, and therefore naturally free of side effects. and it is the most ultra-modern system of medicine, because it's not just based on the discovery of the molecule, which is at least 100 years old, which is the basis of modern medicine. It's based on the discovery of the unified field, which is the latest cutting-edge knowledge of how the universe functions. Thank you. Jake, you're down.
Thank you very much. Wonderful, very inspiring, enlightening speeches that we were enjoying from you. Are there any questions?
Ayurveda believes in Sankhya philosophy. Yoga, there is Ishvara being added in there. But Ayurveda believes in Sankhya, that is duality. How do you explain that? If unified life.
Part of Maharshi's incredible genius as a scholar of the Vedic wisdom was to see the whole in all of the aspects of the Vedic literature. Because we have the 6 darshanas and 6 Vedangas and all of that, but they are all basically emerged from one universal Veda. And they all reflect some aspect, highlight some aspect of the ultimate reality. But because they are all branches of one tree, they all also interrelate to each other. And what Maharshi found in Ayurveda especially is that it is a really holistic science, and that the real pearls of wisdom that come from Sankhya and Yoga and Karma-Mimamsa and Vedanta and so forth all can be found within the real wholeness of Ayurveda. In fact, the Vedic literature, Maharshi would say, was ultimately not in conflict with each other, but inseparable from each other. And different branches of a tree may look quite different in some respect, but they all ultimately integrate and emerge from one wholeness. So that way he restructured Ayurveda in a way that really brings into practical application the wisdom of the entire Veda. And it's an amazing achievement, and it's not very well known, and it's important, I think, that people get to know about the wholeness of Ayurveda.
Thank you so much. Wonderful answer, wonderful question.